I think mental resilience was the most important thing that I fostered during this period was being told what happened to you. You realize this is not a good situation, it's not a good card to be dealt. But you kind of understand that, well, you're still alive now. And so it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome in the Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Daniel McQueen, and I'm so happy that he said yes to our interview today. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Wow, thank you again. And I would love to introduce you to the audience. So I do this. Your life changed unexpectedly when a severe brain hemorrhage led to emergency surgery. You were for weeks in a coma and months of rehabilitation. Through this experience, you discovered how a brain injury can refocus the mind and provide unexpected life lessons. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast again, Daniel McQueen.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and my first question to you is, how did your life change after the brain hemorrhage, and what were some key lessons you learned during your recovery?
Well, it's the brain hemorrhage kind of came out of nowhere, right? I was having headaches, and then that led to the optometrist who told me, you need to go to eye doctor immediately. So this went from 0 to 60 in a matter of like 8 hours. So I was a healthy, active guy up until this, living in Europe, living in London, living my best life, big nights out, playing sports, lots of beers, lots of pubs, working in tech, getting paid not much, but having a really nice time and enjoying myself there. And then all of a sudden the headaches kind of came to a forefront where I couldn't avoid them any longer, and I couldn't pretend they weren't happening. I'll tell you one story that happened. I was on the tube one day. The tube's like zigzag around London, lumbering towards Nine Hill Gate tube station on the district line. The headaches were so bad in my brain that my vision started to go starry, and then slowly started to fade to black. It was a race. I got to the station, stepped onto the platform, mind the gap, and the curtain fell. The lights went out. I couldn't see. I was blinded. So I want to ask you, able-sighted person your whole life, all of a sudden you're thrust into the depths of blindness in a tube station in London. The station's swirling around you. What would your first thoughts, impressions, and feelings be?
Oh.
It was pretty scary for me. And I decided that I'm going back to the eye hospital tomorrow, or the brain hemorrhage hospital tomorrow. They thought it was vertigo and they sent me home, but they told me I could always get my eyes checked by an optometrist. So I got my eyes checked by an optometrist the following day, and he sent me off to Moorfields Hospital and escalated this whole operation. So it went from 0 to 60 in a matter of 8 hours for me. It's pretty wild.
Wow. What a story, because I was in London once, and I know the situation with all the tubes there and the crowd, and what do you do from there when you cannot move or see at all?
Yeah, it was pretty sobering to see that, and it got me to think, that I need to really get to the bottom of what's happening here. So I kind of took his recommendation seriously and went with the recommendation. And sure as you're born, we end up on the operating table. And on the operating table, I had a massive bleed in the brain, a brain hemorrhage. So I think when they opened up my head, and the cyst that was in there had blew up, leading to hydrocephalus or water in the brain. The change in pressure caused the hemorrhage. And I was in a coma for 4 weeks. So I was in and out of consciousness for months after this. They had to use ice blankets above and below me to keep my core temperature down. This led to violent shivering. My family said it was horrible to watch. Hooked up to 13 tubes and hoses to monitor various things to give me medicine. Alarms constantly went off as blood pressure spiked to heart rate too high. And I was in pretty critical condition. They told my parents I may not be able to make it out of this. So it was very dire, very off to the races. And I woke up 4 weeks later with my mom, dad, and brother on the bed, being told what had happened to me and trying to talk, but I can't talk because my vocal cords were fried. So I point at my brother and go, "You, give me a pen and paper." I go right down there and I go, "Get me out of here." And I show it to Cam and he goes, "What do you want me to do, bud? You're not going anywhere." My one eye's wonky as hell. My leg had atrophied, so I couldn't use my left leg. And I was hooked up to a lot of tubes and hoses and various machines and medicine. And needless to say, I was in the hospital for months after this. So it was good that he didn't break me out of the hospital.
Yes, I see. Very scary situation, and all you wanted to do is get out of there, but it was not possible, of course, in this state. So my next question is, what role did mental resilience play in your rehabilitation process, and how has it shaped your perspectives on life?
I think mental resilience was the most important thing that I fostered during this period. Was being told what happened to you, you realize this is not a good situation, it's not a good card to be dealt. But you kind of understand that, well, you're still alive now. And so it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. So I slowly got to work, getting my mindset aligned and get myself back together to rehab up and get back to life, and just slowly started to chip away at stuff day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And just incrementally moving myself towards the goal I wanted to. And I did that by keeping promises to myself. So you can foster resiliency by keeping promises to yourself, by doing what you say you're going to do day in, day out. That took the form of getting in the wheelchair in 45 minutes, and then 40, and then 35, and then 30, and 25, and then 20. And you're ratcheting up what you do, you say you're going to do. I used to go for walks. I used to live in the Haringey Ladder in London, in North London, on Turnback Lane Tube Station. And I go for a walk for 1 block a week, and then the next week I do 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6. And I'd stack up this book of evidence that says I do what I say I'm going to do. And that way, when I'm unsure if I can do something difficult, I look at the stack of evidence that says I do what I say I'm going to do. And I know I can execute it and deliver on it, which is pretty cool. So you can do this, but you have to put the work in to flex the muscle and to build that evidence locker and make this possible.
Wow, I love what you shared. It's the little steps, right? And then never give up. And then, and then you talked about setting a goal as well.
Yeah, so goal setting is quite a big part of this as well. I really use goal setting in a large capacity, whether it be a small-term goal or a large-term or long-term goal, and just incrementally worked at building myself up to get to a position to execute on that. It was getting in the wheelchair in 40 minutes, not 35, or 35, not 40. And then it was getting back the stairways back to my flat in Hammersmith to get back to my flat. And that was 44 stairs, not 100, as my mom thought. And this 2 winters ago, I went skiing for the first time in 10 years. That was the goal that I set out loud when I was on the even bars at Wilson Rehab Center. Early days from the brain hemorrhage. And they asked me what I want to get back to doing, and I told them I want to get back to skiing. And they kind of paused and looked at each other and go, okay. Kind of no way they're thinking I'm thinking about doing this. I wasn't able to walk at the stage, so skiing seemed a bit far in the distance. And then, incrementally, I kind of ratcheted myself back up to a point where I went skiing 2 years ago and skied down the hill and I skied, and it looked like I never missed a day. I was just there skiing because I visualized it so much in my mind about how to do this and what it would entail to ski and the movement and the weight transfer and the body position and lean and the edging. I had visualized it all so much that I knew what I could do. And the video of me skiing it looks like I haven't missed a day. It's very good form. It's very good technique, and it blew me away. I was pretty stoked to see I still had it.
Wow, I love what you shared about setting goals as well. It's about setting big goals, not just a goal. It's a big goal. Other people think it's impossible, but you know it deep inside. This is what you want, and this is what you go after.
Yeah, so I call that a moonshot goal. Like it wasn't something that I thought would be possible. Even like I didn't think it'd be possible to do this, but I wanted to aspire to someone who could ski. I knew that if I became the person that could ski, I would be in a good way, physically and mentally. And so I just set that goal out loud. And when I said it aloud, I kind of had to oblige myself to achieve that goal. And it involved just incrementally building myself into a position where I could ski. And it was something that I didn't think would be possible, right? I said it out loud when I was in a wheelchair. And they humored me and said, sure, that sounds like a great goal. But like, there's no way that I'd be skiing. And there I am skiing because I set this audacious goal, and you know, I hit the goal. Like I called the goal out and I made the goal happen, which is pretty cool. And that's a testament to the power of goal setting and drive and resilience in your mindset that you can achieve what you say you're going to do. And like, it's now I feel that I can almost achieve anything because if I put my mind to it, like I know what I'm able to do and accomplish because of what I've done already.
Wow, this is so true. And you mentioned something very important is about you saw yourself as the person that does this, right? It's important.
Sorry, say that again.
You saw yourself as the person doing this.
Yeah, so I want like the goal was for me to become the person that could ski. And so that meant I had to have like good core strength, balance, mobility. Like I'd have to become physically fit to be able to ski in the first place. And like even if I couldn't ski, I'd still be in a good way to do this. So like I had to become the person who would be in the best position to ski. So I bought a balance board and started working on the balance board for a little bit, getting my core strength up, which you know wasn't the most disciplined with, but it worked for a little while. And I had skied so much growing up as a kid. I was a ski racer and a ski instructor that I remembered some of the old hacks I used to instruct the kids. You know, putting the poles in your hand and pretending that you've got the holes in your hands like this and keeping your upper body still and your lower body active like a duck. Like all these habits and hacks I took on board when I went back to skiing, and it just clicked. Like I'd spent probably close to like over 1,000 hours on the ski slope. Maybe that's an outrageous exaggeration, but a lot of time on the ski slope. To say I ski raced for a couple of years, and I was a ski instructor as well. I used to attack the vertical and spend a ton of time on the slopes. Like I spent a ton of time on the hill, and it just clicked. It just came back to like how it was in my mind and how I remembered it and how I just went back into it like I never missed a day. It was pretty phenomenal.
Wow, that is very impressive. So you saw yourself as the person doing this, and it motivated you, and it became a burning desire, right?
Yeah, well, when I said it out loud, it's like I'm a bit of a stubborn guy. And so when I say it out loud, it means I'm going to do it. So I was, come hell or high water, I was going to ski because like I said, I was going to do this. And I was at least going to try. And if I failed doing it, so be it, but I'm going on the hill. So on the gondola ride going up, I'm thinking, you know, what if it doesn't come back? This is going to look like a big foolish endeavor to try this out. But lo and behold, it was smashed. Like it was better than I could have expected it to go. It went smooth. It went phenomenal. It was a lovely day on the hill. Big, beautiful bluebird day, sunny skies, no rain in the spring. It was phenomenal. It's like a testament to know that, like, if you put your mindset to something to do it, you can achieve it and accomplish it. But like, you've got to try. I think that's what the most important thing here is try. It's the most important bit. And there's a risk of failure for that. Like this could have gone pear-shaped on me for sure. Like it was not a guarantee this would have gone well, but I was willing to risk failure to make this happen. And I think that all the best things in life involve some sort of risk. Of course, let me be clear and say that it's within realistic And like within reason, the risk is there. Like I don't want you to get hurt by doing something that's a bit out of your reach, but like if you don't risk failure, then what are you trying to accomplish? Like what's the real risk? You're not really doing something unless you're risking embarrassing yourself, right?
Yes. If you don't change, or if you say if you don't risk, then first of all, no risk, no fun. But then you never reach your goals if you don't try. You use the word try, of course. You have to make a plan, and then you will reach your goal. Okay, my next question is, how has your experience with the brain injury influenced the way you approach challenges and crises today?
Well, I think I was living in London when the lockdown happened, and it was quite strict lockdown in London. They had like a pretty big like house arrest style lockdown where you couldn't leave the house. You could go for a walk and get groceries, but besides that, you were kind of under lock and key in the house in the neighborhood. And I was thinking, like, it's a great training for a lockdown is a brain hemorrhage, because my situation came out of left field, came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're thrust into a new depths of reality, and you got to kind of adapt to what you can control. And an expression I really gravitated towards during this process was control the controllables. It's a Stoic through line and Stoic mindset shift that you kind of adapt to take on board to really allow yourself to navigate difficult stuff and control what you can control, and then don't worry about the rest. So now that mindset is just a part of me, and I think, not to sound arrogant, but it's just like, what are you going to come at me with that I can't overcome or can't deal or foster? Like I've navigated so much change, so much adversity, that like I know a playbook in my mind of how to do this, and it's just part of me now.
Wow, I love that. So you adapted this new mindset, of course. And my next question is about your coaches and mentors, or where did you get the new mindset from, and who was the best coach you ever had?
The mindset was from a lot of podcasts and a lot of audiobooks. So like Stoicism, Ryan Holiday is a good author for this. Ego is the Enemy, Courage is Destiny. A lot of his books are quite good, and they all hinge in Stoic philosophy, which is an old philosophy in Greek mythology. And essentially, Stoic philosophy is controlling what you can control, and not worrying about other stuff that's outside of your control, but being the best person you can be for yourself and not worrying about the rest. And I've just taken that on board full steam. In terms of my best coach that I've had, I think the best coach I've had was the late, great Bruce Featherstone. He passed away 2 years ago. Unfortunately, rest in peace, Bruce. He was my football coach for the Vipers from grade 10 to 12, or grade 9 to 12, which was quite a lot of time we spent together. We trained, I mean, compared to Europe, probably not, but we trained twice a week, and then we played one game a week. So it was, all in all, probably 4 hours a week we spent together. And he trained me he moved me from right mid to center midfield, which was a big adjustment in terms of responsibility and role in the team. And it was a great transition for me, and I really flourished into the move and relished the new responsibility. And Bruce kind of gave me a good crack at this position, and really allowed me to develop and grow into the player I was when I was playing there. I ended up playing for the high school football team as well, soccer team as well, and I owe that to his move me from right mid to center mid. So that was very nice, Bruce Featherstone. So thank you.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for mentioning your coach at school. I love that. And yeah, may he rest in peace, of course. So amazing. So thank you for our interview. It was my last question. So when people reach out to you after listening to this episode, of course, where can we find you? Do you have special offers or services?
Yeah, so people can reach me at MacQueenDan.com. That's MacQueen Dan.com. I'm a speaker based in Vancouver, BC, Canada. I do a lot of remote work as well in Europe. So if you let me know that you're found me from this podcast, I'll give you a 10% off any speaking fees we agree on. So how about that? That's an offer for you. You can take that to the bank.
Thank you so much. This is generous. Please reach out to Daniel. He's amazing. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
My final thought to the audience. Well, there's a statistic I love that really allowed me to ponder and think about life in a more big manner. The odds of you being a human being are 400 trillion to 1. 400 trillion to 1, right? So it means you're more likely to win the lottery like 1,000,000 times than you are to have a life in the first place. Now, I was lucky enough to get an at bat at life, 400 trillion to 1. That's staggering odds, right? The only reason why I was able to get an at bat at life was because I had this blip in my DNA that caused the brain hemorrhage, right? That causes growth that led to the brain hemorrhage ultimately. So I'm only alive because of the brain hemorrhage. So I can't wish it didn't happen because that wouldn't be me. So when you get calm with this and kind of realize that I'm only alive because I'm this is a part of me. The odds of being a human being are so staggeringly small that, like, you get to do this. Everything is a gift. You get to do this. So keep that perspective in mind. Don't talk about it, be about it. You get to do this. That's my last word for the day.
Thank you so much. I'm speechless now. This was our interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices. See you in the next episode.